Travis Wayne Goodsell. I've told you about how I'm into women's fashion design and how that originated in my life as a Mormon boy. And so as I was thinking I was going to close down for the night, I came across a YouTube channel in which a woman was doing a fashion. And I didn't recognize her, so I checked, and sure enough, she's fairly new. She did start 7 months ago, and I noticed that in the beginning, she started with a whale encounter, so that's kind of cool. Only 268 views after 7 months. So that's pretty good for a first-timer. And 4 months, she did a FabFitFun Fall 2020 unboxing, my first ever video, which I don't think that's the case. I see a whale encounter first. Yeah, she's just... that looks like a magazine and then a bag. So yeah. 847 views, so she's doing exceedingly well. And then she did another one at 726, and then she did a video on cosmetics, their eyebrows, 406, 4 months ago, and then she did one on Christmas lights again, and then 333. And then she does her try-on. 10,000, 3 months. Then she does How I Style My Sage, plus Soul Clothing, 2.5 thousand, 2 months ago. And then she did an unboxing and try on Adore Me. 15,000, 2 months. And then she wanted to do a guess the price with her Nana. 656. And then she did a swimsuit try on. 54,000. You'd think she'd figure it out by now, what her audience wants. But she did a garage clothing, only took in a couple of thousand. So, yeah, I don't shame women for doing fashion try-ons. That's not right. But this is where we get into talking about the singles wards. Mormon singles wards are what Mormon women call a meat market. And if they know it's called a meat market, you'd think they'd be paying attention to my video on sex slavery. The 2 videos. But nobody is gonna bite. But if you do not understand, if you are Mormon, you are a victim of sex slavery in one form or another. You may not have had sex, but that doesn't mean you're not a victim of sex slavery. You need to understand how it is that the church is victimizing you. And it's all because of the tithing requirement for temple worthiness. That tells women that they got to look for the best of the best priesthood holder, as a certain Sherry Dew, is that her name? The Deseret Book lady. pursued an apostle, didn't get him, so she's single for the rest of eternity. And those situations then result in an excuse with, well, I'm righteous on earth, I will then be given. Really? You think God's going to just give you a man against his agency? See, Mormons just don't think. You can't just come up with doctrines of speculation and then just believe over and over again like Packer told you to do. A testimony comes from the bearing of it. I have a testimony that I was one of the few in the council in heaven, and I will just keep repeating it until it becomes true. That's not how it works, Mormons. Oh, yes, the first two husbands were not my soulmate, but now you, the third one, are my soulmate, and we knew each other in the pre-existence and made a promise to each other that we'd find each other on earth and get together. So why did you marry those other two? I was lost, but now I'm found. That's not our hymn. The church prophets don't like that hymn. Did you know that? We're white supremacists. Mormons aren't supposed to like Amazing Grace. They justify it by saying it's doctrinally incorrect. And so then you have the conflict of, do we believe in Christ or do we know our Redeemer lives? Because you can't both believe and know at the same time. It's either one or the other. And for God, that becomes difficult to know. In the singles wards, they're mostly in Utah now. Outside of Utah, you may see a college ward, though oftentimes it's pretty much just an institute class or institute that has different classes. And in a singles ward, it's not for families. In the older singles ward, for example, they don't allow divorcees who have custody of children. You can attend, obviously, you can attend any church you want, but you can't have your membership records in the singles ward if you've got kids. Your kind don't belong in there. And so that becomes difficult as single mothers need a husband to help ease the burden that the church and the government refuse to relieve. And then it's an interesting pattern that I've seen emerge is that Mormons have a false concept of faith, like I told you, and that is destroying their eternal marriage and eternal happiness. And as one who had 2 failed marriages, both of which were not my fault, literally, not my fault. I'm not just saying that because I don't want to be the victim, or that I want to be the victim and don't want to be the bad guy in the situation. No, they were the ones who left me. And there is no justification for leaving somebody unless they're trying to harm you. I wasn't trying to harm either of them. wives. And that was the problem, was they were harming me. And it's because of the false faith that they had about the Mormon church. And that's what I am warning about, is that this spiritual witness, where you just create a belief, like spirit world, what you were doing there, and soulmates and all this stuff, that's what the second wife's sister asked me. So, are you guys soulmates? And I look at her weird, and did you know each other in this pre-existence, the pre-mortality? And I'm like, yeah, sure, yeah, oh yeah, okay. No! What in the world? I'm divorced. The whole concept of divorce destroys the soulmate principle. And this is what I found, is that any two Mormon couple can make a marriage work. Now that's an abridgment, or an editing, a redaction of Spencer W. Kimball, I believe, who said in the marriage manual for the church that any two people can make a marriage work. Now that's not true, because when you have interfaith relationships, intercultural, interracial relationships, there are more differences that can come into contact in the marriage. And without an education on how to live with another person, let alone have sex with them and raise a family, the likelihood of success diminishes. And so, among Mormons, yes, the percentage goes up because you're dealing with more compatibility in cultural upbringing, religious upbringing. And it's not that you have to be the same type of person with your spouse, versus Paula Abdul, opposites attract. It was Paula Abdul, wasn't it? Opposites attract. Yeah. Maybe it was Janet Jackson. Or was she the one that said, my first name ain't baby, it's Jackson, Miss Jackson if you're nasty. She doesn't like pet names, I guess. Or she just doesn't like pet names from that guy. As I've also learned is a common trait among women, is that for me, they don't like certain things, or they like certain things and I don't like them, so they don't want to get with me. And then other guys, they're all about what they said they weren't into with me. Yeah, so weird how that is. Women lie. Don't you, women? Oh, right. All the women have left my channel again now that conference is over after 8 days. I told you it was going to go away. And so when you have the belief that someday your return missionary will come in the millennium, I have heard women sing that tune. Someday my return missionary will come in the millennium, or husband will come in the millennium, or prince will come in the millennium. If you keep rejecting perfectly good candidates for marriage, you're destroying your life. Literally. If you think that the grass is greener on the other side of the hill, because that's the philosophy you're living your life by, you will never find the greenest grass. Same with guys. I've seen and heard from guys that say that they are not finding the right woman, just as women are not finding the right guy. And all they're really saying is it's not about the right one, it's just someone that they get all mushy-gushy with. But when you have the concept of the guy must squeeze the toothpaste in the middle, not from the end up, I mean, what's wrong with you? That calls for divorce. But yes, those arguments do come up. If you are not trained and educated to say, oh my God, why would I be so concerned about this? Just get separate tubes of toothpaste. You hang your pantyhose over the tub? What? Why is the water not draining in the tub? Oh, here it is. It's clogged with very long hair. It's fun when you have girls. You're constantly cleaning out the drain of hair. But yeah, those are not issues to make an issue out of. The things that are important in a marriage are, do you have reasonable expectations from a religion? Because if you're living in fantasy land with the church, you're going to destroy your marriage. Because at some point down the line, and that's what I keep saying in my videos, I'm going to offend everyone at some point in my videos. Even if you're Christian, even if you're Jewish, even if you're ex-Mormon, not just Mormon. Because of this very thing that I know of in human nature. You must live by truth. Science and truth for everything. See, in our government, we have Republicans that pick and choose when they want to accept truth and science. We all know that about Republicans and the Republican conservative media. They selectively choose what they want to talk about, and then they over-exaggerate with certain trigger words like caravan, illegal, and stuff like that. But both sides use democracy when it suits their purpose. And for Democrats as well, they don't always adhere to science. And you don't want me to go down the path to fully explain where they don't adhere to science. Because there are Mormons, or those who are ex-Mormon, who left the church because they thought that the church should conform to their views on pseudoscience. And people protest, trying to get the church to accept their pseudoscience, when the church already doesn't adhere to science anyway. they don't like science, it sort of destroys their whole church. And so when you have those seeds within you, those beliefs, they are dangerous to bring into a marriage. For me, I had my brother for the first part of my life sharing the same room. And then Rick's college, I was able to get my own place for the first semester. Then my cousin joined me in the second semester. And then mission. And so I was used to many different types of people. Not just encountering many different types of people from around the world, but having to live with someone on a permanent basis in that sense. And so that gave me an advantage for marriage, which women do not get if they jump right into marriage once they turn 18 and graduate from high school. But that's where the parents fail. The parents didn't teach their children how to focus on the important things in life, to look for a spouse who puts truth over the church. So that's what I did growing up. You know, the church told me lots of stuff that I'm supposed to believe and accept as true, but it was not until I was put to the test where the church was giving me an ultimatum, and I had to choose truth and science over the church. And you don't want to encounter that in a marriage relationship, because in both situations I chose truth over their beliefs that I was supposed to conform to, and thus I didn't, and thus they left. And that's the difficult dilemma of Mormonism, is because those Mormons who are still in the church, you know, yeah, you both have similar mindsets, but you never put it to the test when the important stuff matters. The church has a high rate of divorce. I doubt it will be published online, but we can check. Percentage of Mormon divorce. 69%, dear God. 69% of Mormon marriages end in divorce. Versus 25% who just split up. Huh. Wow. Wow. This was done back in 2015. January 13th, it says. It's from the Washington Post, even. Wow. then you got people like Marie Osmond, who I think she's on number 8, although he was number 1. Celebrities tend to get more privileges than us regular folk. But that's horrifying. There's something wrong in the church with 69%. And I saw it. This is why I'm doing this video, is to help you guys. If you do not understand the process to obtain knowledge, and if you're not doing it, you have faith in the Word, you act on the Word, not other things, you act only on the Word, and then you finish it. And the finished results will tell you as to whether that was good or bad, right or wrong, true or false. If you do not have this basic principle of life in your system, your marriage is doomed to fail. Too many people think that in order to find out if the church is true or the Book of Mormon is true, you got to go to church, say your prayers, read all the scriptures. No, that's not acting on the word of, is the Book of Mormon true? Is the church true? There are other things that are required to be done to find out if the word is true, if the church and the Book of Mormon is true. And Mormons are not doing it. I see it time and time again. This is why you guys aren't watching my videos, is because you do not accept that basic principle, and it's destroying your life. If you are stuck in a marriage because of kids, and I saw that. First marriage had kids, and I was stuck, and so the kids became a distraction to keep me away from her and her abuse. And that's the reason why it was a relief to be able to go to work, to go to school, so that I wasn't around her and her abuse. And you can't live a marriage like that, because eventually the kids grow up, hopefully they leave home. We're now seeing a situation where kids are not leaving home because of the financial status of our nation. And I'm seeing parents forcing the kids to the streets, teaching them tough love, they call it. That's not love. But when I was in Canada with the first wife, I was asked by the Elders Quorum president to help a woman move out. She had gotten a new apartment. She was in her 90s, as he was in his 90s, 80s, 90s, something like that. And she had just had enough. And I couldn't identify from her ranting what it was that he had done. She was expecting a relationship in retirement without letting him know, without finding out what he wanted in retirement. And she just wanted out. I saw no cause for leaving other than, he didn't say I love you every single second. Maybe he didn't take her out on dates every weekend. Didn't go for walks or something? I didn't understand. Those are not essential to a strong marriage. They're not. It's whether the two of you can stand each other's company after all those years of marriage. You still like being with him or her. And be able to be in any situation. Because if you have to have a setting just right in order to be happy in your marriage, you've lost focus of your marriage. The focus is on your spouse. Not about house decorations, not about whether you have to get out of the house. See, this is the problem that the press was putting pressure on America for when we were supposed to be shut down to protect ourselves from coronavirus. As the press kept telling us that we were getting fed up of staying at home, and that we needed to get out. And of course that then puts the thought into people's minds, and then, yeah, you get people who go, yeah, I need freedom. This coronavirus is taking away our agency. If you notice, I'm always in my apartment at this computer for the most part if I'm not in bed sleeping or getting something from the kitchen. I don't need to get out. I don't need to travel. I don't need other people in my life. I just want one. Female. And she needs to want just me in her life. Because if you have to have other situations, if you have to go hiking or skiing and whatever, traveling the world, see, that's your selfishness. Yes, we have interests and desires. As you can tell, I have those interests and desires. But I can't expect a spouse to like everything I like. It would be nice if I had married somebody who loved Egyptian and Paleo-Hebrew. I don't expect that to ever happen. I have now learned after 51 years, it's not gonna happen. But it's not essential for the marriage. But she needs to allow me to pursue that. And there's a difference between having to get away from your spouse and doing what you love. Because you don't have to give up what you love. Because if you have gone skiing your whole life, yeah, okay, it would be nice to find a wife or a spouse that loves to go skiing as well. I love to go skiing, but I've learned that it's not as high a priority in my life. Even when doing research, I still had to get a job to pay the bills. So the research was sort of when I got home from work, because that first wife wanted nothing to do with me. With the second wife, we were talking late into the evening. That screwed up my daily run. I sort of need my daily run to survive and live. But again, she was so much more important to me than my own life. But yeah, I did need to figure out some way to spend time with her, but still get some sleep so that I can go running in the morning. And I just, it was sad, as there are so many singles in the church. Let's see if there's a percentage for singles in the church. It says only 25% of young single Mormons are active. That was from 2016. $100 million? Universe BYU.edu. 100 million American adults are single. Singledom is not a relationship status growing solely among the Mormon faith. Okay, so that's not what I was looking for. Single adult LDS Church. So single adult only talks about the 18 to 30 year olds. Doesn't talk about the 30 to what is the age? Is it 50 or 50? I think it's 50. I think. And you get the creepy old men coming into the older singles ward. Hey baby, I can exalt you. But yeah, they don't seem to indicate the number of singles in singles wards. That might cause a problem. The one I used to attend, the older singles ward, it was the most popular ever. It was at the Fort Union Boulevard, right behind the police station. I'm gonna have to do this video tomorrow. And had sacrament meeting every single week. The chapel was full, and the overflow back to the stage in the cultural hall. So people who are expecting the other, whether male or female, to have completed works, if you're in the younger singles ward, that's unrealistic. I hear too many times the younger singles talking about how they're looking for general authority material, or at least bishop material, if they think they're being reasonable. And in the older singles ward, the women have expectations of accomplished men. And in the older singles ward, you're not going to find it. Because even if you think you found it, they've got something wrong with that faith, false faith. That's why they haven't gotten married yet. And so, yeah, if you do not get married right away, the likelihood of a successful marriage dwindles. As much as you think that getting a career, going on a mission for women, getting an education, becoming successful is just going to make it that much more easier to get married, as you have a biological time clock for women, right? Men don't. As they get older, they drop in sperm count, but we still have babies into our 90s and hundreds and however long we can live. But not for women. And so I did kind of feel sad in the older singles ward, watching women who were perfectly beautiful and yet had pursued a career and an education, and in many cases even mission, and just kept looking in their youth for Mr. Perfect to be, and didn't find him, or he didn't ask them because they were pursuing an education and career, and then on my mission even. I mean, the women who were going to Spain, oh my goodness. Where were they when I came home? They were all married up. But on the mission, I then found out why. Is that you get vegans in the church? Dear God. Again, science denial. We're not supposed to be vegan. But it's a meat market. And I even recognize the sex slavery, as Mormon women were purposely making men wait longer. Because out in the world, yeah, they have sex. They have safe sex so that they don't get pregnant too early. But not in the church. You can't have sex. And as a result, Mormon women are therefore higher priced prostitutes, because the men are expected to pay for the women and their lifestyles. And that doesn't go over well with women. Oh, right, I don't have women listening. It's okay to say. And nobody's listening at 43, 44 minutes anyway, and I'm not going to be putting it out until tomorrow, which is Monday, and nobody watches my channel on Monday. So, I also saw a disturbing trend that the women would give up on you if they saw you talking with another woman. And they even thought you were a player if they saw you talking to more than one woman. That was weird, because I had not known how to date growing up. And so when I went to Rick's, I wanted to get to know women. And I had thought that I had figured it out, so that when I would come home from my mission and look for a wife, that I would have a dating schedule. You know, Susie Monday mornings, Sharon Wednesday afternoons, etc. throughout the week. And ideally, I'd have somebody for every single day of the week, 24/7. Maybe not 24/7. But it would allow me to get to know a whole bunch of women at a quick pace. And so when I came to Utah, divorced, going to the singles wards, I was hoping that I could implement something like that. I was sort of at a disadvantage because the younger singles ward girls think that those who are divorced are wicked and evil. And I didn't belong because of that. I was wasting my time there. And in the older singles ward, they had expectations. You had to have a job. They didn't expect you to take care of them anymore. They hoped that you could merge together because they realized the economy requires a 2-income household. And yet I was still at a disadvantage because of the financial struggles that come with divorce. But to give up on a man because you see him talking with others, you think he's therefore going to be unfaithful to you? I think you're projecting, and you need to be careful of that. Because the guy is not supposed to live by the false faith of the spiritual witness. We're not just going to go to the singles ward because even women go to the singles ward hoping to meet a whole bunch of different guys, and then one of them will be the one. Same with guys. We go to the singles ward hoping we can meet a whole bunch of women, and one of them will be the one. And so to go in and say, oh, well, you're a player, you're hanging out with all these other women. Hanging out? I'm talking with them at an activity. You never talk to a woman. Talk with her. And so, to realize that women that I would like to get to know give up, that's sad. You know, maybe the women have left my channel because they saw the videos where I say I prefer little redheaded girls. Not understanding women. There's a difference between sexual preference and a spouse. And like I said, any two Mormons can make it work. Now in my situation, I'm in limbo land. Ex-Mormons and Mormons don't want me because of the difference in belief. And in my situation, it's not about belief. I need someone who has knowledge, who doesn't live by belief alone. And at this age, if you're still living by belief alone, oh dear God, I can't even hang out with you because you cannot communicate properly. So please stop batting your eyes. Because men are weak. And we do stupid things that we regret when we find out that the woman has the false faith and is demanding things from us to accept her false faith. So, as this video took too long, I had prepared a whole bunch of memes and I was going to go through them, but I'll pass on that. But yeah, it's a nightmare, as too many are time for bed. Too many are destroying their marriages. So let me write down the theme song and to put in the description below for tomorrow. What's forever for? And then I'll see you in the morning.